Hey, what's up, guys? It's Sports Blitz here, and we're back with another NFL record prediction. Today, we've got the Chicago Bears, so make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. And let's go ahead and get on into it. So, looking at the depth chart, starting at quarterback, I think Bears fans can mostly agree that Caleb's rookie year wasn't really as good as people expected. But that said, I mean, just because he wasn't Jaden Daniels doesn't mean he had a bad rookie year. You know, you definitely like to see more wins there than they got, but I do expect him to take a step forward in year two. Um, I definitely think getting Ben Johnson is going to help him quite a bit. Going to help the offense in general quite a bit there, so definitely expect some improvement there. Going to running back, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little surprised they didn't either sign a running back in free agency or draft a running back, at least higher than they did the seventh round when they got Kyle Monangai. Don't know if I pronounced that correctly. I mean, I just DeAndre Swift is solid. Like, I'm not gonna say he's a bad running back, but I don't know. It's a little lackluster there if you ask me. I think for a Ben Johnson offense, you've got to have a better running back than that, but that's just my opinion. Going over to wide receiver, they're pretty stacked here. It's pretty much the same as it was last year, only you replaced Keenan Allen with Luther Burden, and I think that's a good replacement. You guys know, if you've watched the channel for a while, that I wasn't crazy high on Luther Burden in the draft. I thought he was going to be either a really late first round pick or an early second round pick, so realistically, he went probably a little bit later than I expected, but not much. I think I think getting him as your wide receiver three, like that's a pretty stacked core. And honestly, even looking at like Olamide Zaccheaus, he's a solid wide receiver four as well. Devin Duvernay is, I mean, he's mediocre, but you look at him as a wide receiver five, and it's not that bad. I expect DJ Moore to kind of grow some chemistry better with Caleb Williams. It seemed like there was a lot of crap going on this last year that, DJ was kind of giving up early on routes, kind of seemed to get a little bit of an attitude. I would expect in probably a more productive offense this year, he's probably going to get back to what we saw in the 2023 season, where he was probably a top 10 receiver that year. Romo Dunze honestly had a pretty solid rookie year. I expect him to get quite a bit better year two. So I mean, like, as far as receivers go, they're stacked. I like what I'm seeing there. Tight ends, I definitely like the tight ends as well. I personally, in the draft, I had Tyler Warren higher than Colston Loveland, but for this type of offense, the more I've thought about it, Colston Loveland actually fits it a lot better than Tyler Warren would. I think Colston Loveland's going to be a really, really good receiving tight end, and I think he's going to be productive immediately. I don't think it's going to be something that he takes really a few years to develop. He's going to be productive immediately. And look, no disrespect to Cole Kmet at all. I would still call Cole Kmet a top 20, maybe top 15 tight end. And I just think Colston Loveland's going to take over as tight end one. I really do. I think he's going to be good. So yeah, they're set at tight end. Honestly, Durham Smythe is really not that bad either. So you look at him as a tight end three, they're set. They're in a good spot. Offensive line, I was also praising them, during mock draft season, saying they did what they needed to do on the offensive line. They completely improved their interior offensive line. Honestly, they did kind of the same sort of thing that the Carolina Panthers did last offseason. And I think, especially towards the end of this last season, you kind of saw that really come to fruition for the Panthers. I mean, their interior line was just insanely better than the year before. And, it helped Bryce look a lot more confident. I think it's going to do a similar thing here for Caleb Williams. I really do. Trading for Joe Tooney from the Chiefs, signing Drew Dahlman in free agency off of the Falcons, getting Jonah Jackson. I want to say he was with the Rams, so that helps. I'm not crazy high on Jonah Jackson, but for the price they got him at, and still, improving at that position, I think that was a really good move for them. I'm a little bit less confident in the tackles personally, but I think they'll be serviceable. I'm a little curious to see how Darnell Wright does this year, though. It seemed to me, and again, I didn't watch every snap of every Bears game, so I may be wrong about it, but it seemed like Darnell Wright was kind of the main liability on the Bears O line last year. And again, I could be wrong about that. I didn't watch every single snap, but I'm curious to see how he does this year. Maybe with a better interior and not having to make up for issues on the interior. Maybe he'll do a lot better. And honestly, Ben Johnson, like, he has experience helping offensive linemen. I think he'll be able to improve. So yeah, altogether, like, I mean, receivers are stacked, tight ends are stacked. I love the offensive line improvements they've made. Caleb going into year two, I think he'll make a big improvement. And running backs are pretty much the same, but I don't love DeAndre Swift, but he's not the worst option either. Maybe with him being so elusive too, maybe he'll be solid under Ben Johnson. I mean, he was solid when he was with Detroit before, so maybe he proves me wrong. Going over to defense, starting off with Montez Sweat. I think he's going to be good. Not really a whole lot to say there. I think that was a solid trade for them to make. Was that 2 seasons ago? I think it was 2 seasons ago. Yeah. Yeah, that was good. I think he's done well since being in Chicago. Grady Jarrett, he's still a decent player. I don't love the contract they gave him, though. I think for how old he is and the type of contract they gave him, I don't entirely love that. But it does help their run defense even more, though. So him and Gervon, is it Gervon or Gervon? I think it's Gervon Dexter. Those two together are going to be able to stop the run at a pretty freaking high level, I think. So, yeah, interior D-line's looking pretty good. Again, I like the player. I just don't love the type of contract. At his age, I would have preferred something more like 2 years and see if maybe you could get him for like 20 million, 10 million a year, with, high incentives. I don't know. Other DN they've got is Dayo Odeyingbo. Signed him in free agency off of, I believe, the Colts. I believe he was with the Colts before, and he's kind of a player that kind of went under the radar, but actually was producing at a really high level given the playing time that he got. I think that's a really, really good signing for them. I don't remember the type of contract they gave him, though. I feel like I remember it being a little bit more than I would have expected, but I don't remember the exact contract. But anyways, we're here to talk about players, not contracts, so I think he's going to be good with the Bears. I do. Linebackers, I mean, Tremaine Edmonds does his thing. Like, we all know, he's a good linebacker. I think TJ Edwards is honestly a solid linebacker, too. I wouldn't consider him like a top 10 middle linebacker, but he's pretty solid. He's definitely not going to be a liability on that defense. I'm going to be honest, I don't really know anything about Ruben Hippolyte. So I can't really give much of an opinion on him specifically. I will say I liked Noah Sewell. So maybe if he gets some playing time and Ruben Hippolyte doesn't pan out, maybe Noah Sewell comes in and plays well. I don't know. Moving on to the secondary. This is a pretty scary secondary. Jalen Johnson is a top 10 corner in the league. I think, depending on who you ask, you could debate top 5. Really, really good shutdown corner there. They've got Jaquan Brisker as well. He's kind of had some injury issues. If I'm not mistaken, most of them have been concussions too, actually. So that's something you kind of got to fear for a little bit. When he is healthy, he is a fantastic safety. Like, I'm talking one of the best box safeties in the league. I really think he's a really good player. Those injuries definitely get you there. For free safety, they've got Kevin Byard. I'm trying to remember if this is year 2 or 3 for him in the Bears system. I thought he did pretty solid last year. I don't think he's quite as shut down and elite as he was, with the Titans, but he's pretty freaking solid. I think he's really good there. And honestly, they also have Elijah Hicks, who I think is a pretty dang good safety as well. So I think they're pretty stacked at safety. I think they'll be fine. The opposite corner of Jalen Johnson is Tyreek Stevenson. I mean, he's a good corner. He definitely kind of had to eat his words last year in the Washington Commanders game, with that Hail Mary that Jaden Daniels threw. And I'm not hating on the Bears right now or anything. I thought that was a funny moment. But he is typically a pretty freaking solid number 2 corner. So I think they're all right there. I've got to say, I don't particularly love their depth at corner. Behind those two, I'm not really loving what I'm seeing. Kyler Gordon is one of the better nickels in the league. So, they're set there as well. That's just another thing. I don't love the depth. So this is definitely going to be a team that, if they get riddled with injuries, it could go bad for them really quick. But if everybody stays healthy, this could be a really good team, especially now coached under Ben Johnson. So, again, as I always say, I do my record predictions assuming the entire team stays healthy, because I don't like making predictions with injuries. So, we're going to go ahead and get on into the record prediction. So, starting off week 1, they're going to be at home on Monday Night Football against the Vikings. I think that's going to be good. It's going to be J.J. McCarthy's first ever NFL start. NFL game in general, actually. So I think that's a really good opportunity for the Bears to get an early win. I do think, unfortunately, though, they get a loss the following week against the Lions. Yeah, the Lions are going to be a good team. I feel like this offseason, it kind of feels like a lot of people are starting to lose some of the hype for the Lions, and I don't quite understand why. I still think they're going to be a 13, 14, maybe up to 15 win team. You know, like, Lions are a good freaking team. But I do think the Bears actually get back in the win column the following week against the Cowboys. I don't think this is going to be an easy game. And honestly, this is one that, if it was in Dallas, I'd probably end up leaning Cowboys here instead. But that home field advantage, usually ends up being like a 3-point swing here. I'm going in the favor of the Bears right now. So then you've got the Raiders. This is going to be another really good game. I actually think the Raiders are going to look pretty competitive this year. Not competitive in like they're going to be a playoff team, but they're going to be in just about every game they play. I don't know quite how many wins they're going to end up getting, but I mean, with a serviceable quarterback now, drafting Ashton Genty, and honestly, a very much improved defense as well, Raiders should be definitely one of those teams that starts to get a lot better. I like their coaching situation a lot more now, too. So, I don't think it's going to be an easy win for the Bears, but I will give it to the Bears here. Coming off the bye, they are playing the Washington Commanders on Monday Night Football in Washington. So I'm going to go ahead and give that one to the Commanders. I'm not buying into the whole Jaden Daniels sophomore slump type of year. I think he's going to be really good, and I think the Commanders are going to be a really, really tough team. So I do think they get back on track the following week, though, against the Saints, get what I think is going to be a pretty easy win. But then I think they're going to drop 2 to the Ravens and Bengals the next 2 weeks. Those are 2 really tough games. They're playing 2 of the 4 best quarterbacks in the league back to back. I mean, that's just two really high-powered offenses. Ravens have a really, really good defense, too. I'm sorry, I don't see the Bears winning those ones. But I do think they'll end up beating the Giants there. So, going the next week, they're going to be in Minnesota. I think by now, J.J. McCarthy's going to have a little bit more of a rhythm going with his offense. And honestly, I think their defense is going to pick up where it left off from last year, too. So, between an improving offense and a really good defense still, I think the Vikings get this one and they split. I am going to go ahead and have the Bears over the Steelers here. With it being Aaron Rodgers and his history with the Bears, Steelers may have a good shot here. I think it's going to be a good game. But the truth of it all is Aaron Rodgers is not what he used to be. He's not he's not an MVP quarterback anymore. He's not going to be winning MVP anymore. He's not going to win any more Super Bowls here on out. Like he's not the prime Aaron Rodgers that he used to be. But against the Bears here, I think it will be a good game. And if it was in Pittsburgh, I may end up giving the edge to the Steelers there. But I'm going to go ahead and give it to the Bears here since it's in Chicago. Then they are taking on the Eagles in Philadelphia on a Friday night game. I guess that's Friday afternoon, a 1 p.m. game. Not sure what that is. Oh, that's probably a Black Friday game. That makes sense. I'm taking Eagles there. That's a pretty easy one for me. Then they're taking on the Green Bay Packers. I also think they split with the Packers here. So I'll go ahead and give them wins in their appropriate stadiums. Gonna go ahead and have them beat the Browns. I don't think the Browns are gonna be a good team this year. I really don't. I think they're gonna be pretty bottom of the barrel, if you ask me. And then I'm actually going to say, sorry, Bears fans, I think the Bears finish off with 2 losses. I think the Niners are going to look a lot better this season, assuming they're healthy. That was kind of their main issue last season. Assuming they're healthy, the Niners are going to be a lot better of a team this year, and it's not going to be an easy win. And then the Lions, that one can be kind of thrown back and forth because it's like if it's a situation that by whatever chance the Lions have like the number 1 seed already clinched, then maybe they play their backups instead and the Bears, win that instead. But overall, gonna go ahead and give them an 8-9 record. I think for a sophomore year quarterback, rookie head coach, and just all the moving parts, I think 8-9 is a pretty solid improvement from last year. I like the direction they're going. Again, improving that offensive line was massive. I think if they can have another really good offseason and Ben Johnson does, show us a little something this year, and Caleb Williams, shows some good improvement, they're going to be a good team for years to come. Like, I like the way they're building it. It doesn't seem like one of those situations that, like, they're going all in and, it's a do or die situation for 1 year. It seems like they're building it the right way and could be a good team for years to come. So, 8-9 right now. Again, if the Lions play their backups week 18, that's 9-8. I think that's pretty solid for the Bears. So, let me know what you thought of this record prediction in the comment section below. Again, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Later.